Hi everyone and welcome to this second video about testing corpora with Hook in Docker. This video is about making sure that your data repositories are compliant with CapiTainS toolset. And to do so, one of the things that you will need is a Docker toolbox that you can download from docker.com, and you will find a version for Mac and for Windows. If you are using Linux, you might want to look at the documentation online, and maybe I will be creating a video about how to do so. So once you have that, I have actually used two specific repository for the rest. The most important one will be canonical faucet, and the second one will be canonical latinate. I have no specific test repositories. I'm just gonna use those repositories to show you how we can test resources or repositories with Hook in Docker. So the first thing that you will need to do is actually launch Kinematic, which is a UI, user interface for Docker. And once it's launched, can take a little bit of time. You will look on Kinematic for CapiTainS Hook test, and you will be able to download it. Once you have done that, you can go to the Hook test, which will be on the left. And one of the first things that you will need to do is actually go to settings and then to volumes. And here, change, you will see Docker folder. So this represents a folder on the virtual machine that is this Hook test latest. And we will point it to a folder in our normal computer, so which is called a local folder, or depending on the vocabulary, host folder. So I'm gonna click on change, and I'm gonna go on my desktop and select repositories, and you see that I have latinate and faucet here. After a little bug, once you have done that, once you have linked sources to these specific repositories, you will need to go to advanced and click on keep std in open even if not attached. Basically, because Hook is not doing really something when you start it, what it will allows is that you can actually log in a shell for Docker. So once it's done, you can start the machine. So I'm stopping it. I'm gonna restart it. Okay, start. So it works. There is nothing happening because there is nothing happening. And we're gonna click on exec here. And because my repositories are in epidoc, I will actually do the following. I'm gonna type // and then epidoc.sh and then the name of my repository. So remember, I have this folder with canonical faucet and canonical latinate. For this test, I am gonna do canonical faucet, and I'm just typing that, and I'm pressing enter. And as you can see, tests are running. It can be slow depending on your computer. It can be slow depending on the resources you have. It can be really slow depending on if you have a lot of resources. And when it's done, and I can open this results file, which I did here, and there is a result for my test, and I can see that I can click on each file and get exactly what's going on. I had to zoom a little in to get proper readability here, but you can see that it's actually all is passing. As someone who can have a lot of resources, that's a second tab. You don't. If you are only having a small repository, you can stop. If you're only having a little repository, you can stop here, because we're gonna see what can be done when you have a huge data repository like Perseus Latin literature or Perseus Greek literature. It's not like 10,000 files, but that's enough files, so it can be long when you just want to check one folder on one file. And what I usually do, So I will go to my repositories, and I'm gonna create a new repository based on canonical Latinlet, and I'm gonna call that the test repository. And here I'm gonna copy the data. I'm gonna create a data folder in test, and I'm gonna copy the resource that I want to test. I'm gonna limit it to the text group or the works that I want to test. Here I'm gonna take a random, more or less random file. Probably, I think Cicerone is this one. Okay, Cicerone is this one, definitely Kikiro. And I'm gonna copy this folder into test data. And this way I can actually test only one text group. If I want to get less, I still copy the text group and I remove the rest of the file that I don't want to test. And so if I want to test it this way, I can go back to Kinematic here, and I'm gonna do epidoc sh test, because I have no test repository, and you can see that everything is run. Okay, so the test ended now. Took a little bit of time, but over 117 text, I have 38 text passing. One thing that you can do, again, as you can see, we had data which was an empty folder earlier, but now we have results. So I'm gonna open results, and you can see that actually each file is marked with its specific results. All my -cts XML, which basically represents my metadata, are good to go. Some of my text files are good to go as well, and some are not. So sometimes it can be parsed, but it fails when ingesting and so on. But you can see a different grain of failure. Here I have really like nearly binary results, but sometimes it's a little more complicated than that, where you have everything running, but you have, for example, not unique nodes found by XPath. So here it is. This is for this video. I hope this is clear to you. I will once again give the links that I talked about in the description of the video.